This is Grace Notes. I'm Alan Button, and really pleased to have in the studio with me two gentlemen who know their music, who I have come to respect for a lot of different reasons. Our programming manager, Will Robinson, and our Saturday morning bluegrass host for Hometown Festival, Buddy Michaels. Gentlemen, welcome.
It's good to be here.
Great being here, Alan. Thanks for inviting me.
We are keeping our listeners a little bit in suspense, so let me eliminate that right away. We've got a special edition of Grace Notes this evening, and we've decided as a staff team that we'd like to do a little tribute to our longtime Saturday night bluegrass host, Tommy Edwards, who, as some of you know, passed away a few weeks ago. But Tommy was a special guy. Tommy Edwards of Bluegrass Saturday Night. And Will and Buddy and I were longtime friends of Tommy. Tommy was a fixture at the station here for some 16 years, not too long after the station went on the air. And he was greatly loved by all of us here as he would come in each week to do his thing in the studio. There's a lot we could say about Tommy in his music, and we'll get into some of that here shortly. But tell you what, just to kick things off, Buddy, why don't you say something to our listeners about bluegrass music generally and how you and Tommy fit into that world?
Well, Tommy and I both had this tremendous love for this music, and I tell people all the time, it's a blessing. To some people, it's a curse, but I'm just thankful that God has allowed me to enjoy this music. Not everybody can enjoy this music. And Tommy felt the same way. Tommy, how did we discover this and all these other people haven't? We're so lucky. But I met Tommy years ago, and I was thinking about it last night. It had to have been at a festival, not so much a bluegrass festival as a fiddler's convention or a street festival. He came from Chatham County, North Carolina, played at the Chicken Festival in Siler City for many, many years, a downtown festival. And I was a local radio celebrity, a local radio personality, let's say. And I would MC a lot because I've been blessed at being able to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met Tommy, because Tommy and he already listened to me on the radio, and I really didn't know him, but I knew about the Bluegrass Experience.
His band.
His band. They'd been around for years. In fact, they are still the oldest touring band in bluegrass music in North Carolina.
And this year made 50 years.
50 years. And I remember being on the stage with him, and we had a certain rapport because we just instantly liked each other. And we would pick on each other, and we had fun together. And that grew over the years of many, many stage appearances. And then we'd meet for lunch. We just kept in touch a lot. And the more I knew about Tommy, the more I loved him and treasured him as a dear friend.
Will, would you like to say anything? We're actually, just to give a heads up to our listeners here, we're going to play a song here in just a minute or so that features Tommy on guitar. Tommy was a great guitar player. Will, before we do that, go ahead.
Well, Tommy was just a gentleman. He was a Southern gentleman, and he and I guess, bonded because of our backgrounds, our love of music, and also we were both former educators. And we loved to talk about days of teaching and coaching and being a principal. So he was just a multi-talented man. But the main thing that always impressed me was whether he was on the stage or off the stage, he was very much a gentleman.
We'll come back and talk more about Tommy here shortly. Let's hear a song that actually features Tommy, that Tommy did, and as we've said, highlights his guitar prowess. Here it is, Train's A-Comin'.
There's a big long train a-comin', gonna take us all away. We can ride it up to heaven when it comes Judgment Day. You don't need to pack a suitcase, 'cause the good Lord will provide. Everything you need will be right there when on that train you ride. That train's a-comin', train's a-comin'. Everybody and his brother is a-looking on down the track. That train's a-coming, train's a-coming. Gonna take us all away, but it ain't gonna bring us back. John the Baptist, he will help you get on board. You don't need to buy a ticket, just believe the holy word. Your money's not important, you don't need to have a dime. And don't worry about that schedule, cause that train will be on time. That train's a-coming, train's a-coming. Everybody and his brother is a-looking on down the track. That train's a-coming, train's a-coming. Gonna take us all away, but it ain't gonna bring us back. When we get to the depot just outside the pearly gates, St. Peter will be standing there so we don't have to wait. Those gates will swing wide open so the saved can walk right in and join the congregation of their family and friends. The train's a-coming, train's a-coming. Everybody and his brother is a-looking on down the track. That train's a-coming, train's a-coming. Gonna take us all away, but it ain't gonna bring us back. I hear that whistle blowing, so I know it's coming soon. It can come for us at any time, at morning, night, or noon. So we should all get ready and be listening for the bell. If we miss that train to heaven, then the next one goes to well. Train's coming, train's a-coming. Everybody and his brother is a-looking on down the track. That train's coming, train's a-coming. Gonna take us all away, but it ain't gonna bring us back. They're gonna take us all away, but it ain't gonna bring us back.
That was Trains A-Comin' by Tommy Edwards. If you're just joining us, we've got a special tribute this evening for our longtime Bluegrass Saturday evening host, Tommy Edwards. And as you just heard, Tommy was a fabulous guitar player. But you've already mentioned that Tommy was from Chatham County, and being the historian he was, he incorporated that into a fair amount of his music. We've got another song that says something about that. You want to say something about it?
Well, Chatham County is known for ghost stories like everybody else is, and there's a place near Bennett and Bear Creek in that area. It's called the Devil's Tramping Ground, and they claim that if you leave something there at night, it'll be moved the next day or gone.
And apparently nothing grows there.
Nothing grows there. Nothing grows there. And I know there's some kind of something in the ground there, a magnetic kind of force.
Yeah, I guess that's the assumption. I've heard Tommy say actually that they've done testing of the soil and discovered it's not a salt problem. It's not that there's too much salt, but for some reason, nothing grows there.
Nothing grows there. But they claim that the devil comes there at night and he tramps around. That's why they call it the Devil's Tramping Ground.
Well, being a native North Carolinian, I've actually been to the Devil's Tramping Ground. And, of course, it's got a lot of trash there because people did tend to go out and test that theory by going out and camping out there. And supposedly some people said they were in their sleeping bags right in the middle of this circle, which encompasses the Devil's Tramping Ground. And in the morning, they would be moved from that area. And there was also some, I think, myths about perhaps some Native American history where there was a young brave who would wait for this love interest. So there's several stories about it, but that was the one thing I loved about Tommy was he's very much aware of the history of North Carolina and ghost stories. And he also wrote a song, of course, about the Mako Light and down in the eastern part of the state. And he and I had talked about also there was a mining accident near Gulf, North Carolina, and he was trying to figure out how to turn that into a song. So he was very, very interested in North Carolina history.
He was always talking about his next song. Well, there's a song there somewhere. So. And by the way, that trash, I think that was some I left one time.
And this song actually also is reflective of Tommy's sense of humor because he talks about some kids from New York City coming down and getting taken care of there at Devil's Tramping Ground. Let's hear it by Tommy Edwards, The Devil's Tramping Ground.
In the heart of Carolina, there's a place that can be found where the natives say the devil comes to think and pace around. It's down in Chatham County, far from any town. It's a barren circle in the woods, the devil's tramping ground. A haunted wind blows in the night, it makes a mournful sound. Some say they hear the devil laugh as he walks around. So don't go near that evil spot where Satan can be found. In the heart of Carolina, at the devil's tramping ground. There's a circle on the forest floor where nothing green will grow. No earthly science has yet explained just why that this is so. But legend says it's where old Satan comes to plot and plan all the mischief and the meanness he puts in the hearts of men. A haunted wind blows in the night, it makes a mournful sound. Some say they hear the devil laugh as he walks around. So don't go near that evil spot where Satan can be found. In the heart of Carolina, at the devil's tramping ground. Some people say they've seen a devilish figure walking there, and others swear they've caught the smell of brimstone in the air. And limbs or other objects placed upon that track at night will not be there when greeted by the early morning light. A haunted wind blows in the night, it makes a mournful sound. Some say they hear the devil laugh as he walks around. So don't go near that evil spot where Satan can be found. In the heart of Carolina, at the devil's tramping ground. Some kids from New York City thought they'd brave the devil's wrath. They made their camp, they pitched their tent right in the devil's path. As darkness fell, the haunted wind blew down their tent that night. They left their gear there in the woods and ran away in fright. A haunted wind blows in the night, it makes a mournful sound. Some say they hear the devil laugh as he walks around. So don't go near that evil spot where Satan can be found. In the heart of Carolina, at the devil's tramping ground. No, don't go near that evil spot where Satan walks around. In the heart of Carolina, at the devil's devil's tramping ground.
That was The Devil's Tramping Ground by Tommy Edwards. And actually, Buddy, you reminded us before we got going here that Tommy collaborated in that song with Mandolin Orange. You want to say something about Tommy's interest in and involvement with other musicians?
Yeah. Tommy was an educator, as most of us know. He was a teacher. He was a coach. He also was an assistant principal for a few years. He really enjoyed youth and steering them in the right way, and he loved to find students, young people that played music, and would love to play with them. And he was amazed when younger musicians that were, he would say, better than I am, they want to play with me. And I said, well, it's because you're a mentor to them. And they've known you for years. They've known you've got the experience, as in bluegrass experience. But anyway, Andrew Marlin, who's a young mandolin player with Mandolin Orange, just really became good friends with Tommy and would come by his store in Pittsburgh and just sit and play with him in the afternoons, because here he is, a college kid, and he had time to kill in the evenings. And Tommy would just sit there and be in hog heaven, because they were just picking together, and Tommy admired this kid's talent so much, and his band is so popular now with the young Americana group and or genre, you would say. And Tommy was just amazed that this kid would take time to want to play with Tommy, and that just really made him a happy person.
I was so impressed with what I saw and read about some of his former students going back decades who have said such nice things about Tommy and how much of an impact he had on them. Speaking of his mentoring and interest in working with and just being around younger folks.
A young student told me a story, then this is one of my favorites. You remember the Walkman?
Sure.
Little cassette player, and he had it at school. He wasn't supposed to be listening to music during class, but he had the little earplug in his ear, and Tommy called him because he was the teacher, and Tommy walked over to him. He says, "What are you listening to?" And he said, "Oh, no, I'm busted now." And Tommy took out the cassette, looked at it, and he gave it back to him, and he says, "Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver really have a great band right now." And because the kid was listening to bluegrass, and Tommy related that he liked him and his band. And this kid said, "Man, I discovered I had done wrong, but Tommy made it like it's okay." So I thought that was a neat story.
Well, we're going to play another song that features Tommy in part, Carolina Mountain Home. You want to say anything about that?
Well, just recalling about the passion that he had for the music, I'm very fortunate because my office, we have a window that we share with the studio, and of course Tommy would be in here doing his show. And yes, great guitarist, also play air guitar. He would be in here just playing his guitar and singing out loud. And I'm thinking, oh, I sure do hope his mic is turned off. But he really loved music, and it was not just a profession for him. It was a true love.
Buddy, you know something about who it is that Tommy is playing with on this song. You want to say something about Jim Mills and Dewey Brown?
Jimmy Mills played with everybody from the Bass Mountain Boys to Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver to Ricky Skaggs for many years. Played the banjo and anything else he wanted to. He's that good. And one of the best in the business. Lives in Durham, North Carolina. And Dewey Brown is from Liberty, or actually Graham, North Carolina. Him and his wife live near Liberty, near between Alamance and Randolph County in that area. And Dewey was Dr. Ralph Stanley's fiddle player for the last 13, 14 years of Ralph's career and his life.
And for those of our listeners who might not know who Ralph Stanley was, tell us who that is.
He was the other half of the Stanley brothers, who was a duo that was very, very popular in the early years of bluegrass. Carter, his brother, died at an untimely age and years ago in the 60s. And then Ralph went on to keep a traditional bluegrass sound and very traditional bluegrass band. And Dewey was blessed to be his fiddle player. So for Tommy to get Jimmy and Dewey together in the studio, that just tickled the fire out of Tommy, because it's just straight up bluegrass music. And that's what he really loved.
We were listening to this before we got started, and as you noted, Buddy, Tommy sings harmony on this, and we hear him on the guitar as well.
And Dewey singing the lead.
And Dewey is also on the fiddle.
Yes, on the fiddle. And Jimmy's on the banjo, and Jimmy also sings some part of the vocals.
Gotcha. Well, as you say, Buddy, we were talking earlier about how he enjoyed so much working with young people, but the fact is he loved working with all ages. Anyone who loved bluegrass was somebody Tommy was a fan of. Let's hear it. Carolina Mountain Home with Jimmy Mills, Dewey Brown, and Tommy Edwards.
I left my home back in the mountains. For many long years I've roamed around. I can hear that lonesome whistle blowing. I'm going back there to settle down. I love those Carolina mountains and the little girl I left behind. I know I'll never forget her. Oh, how I'm gonna make her mine. I looked out my window and wondered if everything there looks the same. I can see the blue eyes of my darling. I'm going back there to change her name. I love those Carolina mountains and the little girl I left behind. I know I'll never forget her. Oh, how I'm gonna make her mine. I love those Carolina mountains and the little girl I left behind. I know I'll never forget her. Oh, how I'm gonna make her mine.
Our next song is one that gets us back a bit into Tommy's biography, because it relates to his personal circumstances with a wonderful woman, his wife, Cindy Edwards. It's a song called Cindy, Cindy. Buddy, tell us something about it.
It's another old bluegrass standard, and it was made popular through the Andy Griffith Show, an episode there where some local pickers were picking in Floyd's barbershop. The legendary Clarence White on guitar, which Tommy was a huge fan of. He was on there, and his brother, Roland White, who went on to be with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. But anyway, and Clarence was part of the Flying Burrito Brothers, the Byrds, the New Kentucky Colonels. Anyway, they were giants in the bluegrass world at that time. So that's where I first heard that song, and Tommy always enjoyed that version of it too. So,
And this is a song that Tommy would often play in his concerts and make special mention, shout out to his wife, Cindy. Cindy, for all the many years that they were married, was such a great support for Tommy and fan. It was, for those of us who made it to his concerts and just saw him in action, Cindy was right there. They really were a great team. Speaking of there being a great team, Tommy and Cindy, for many years together, operated an antiques business in Pittsburgh. And as we've said, she was just a terrific support of Tommy, and just it's hard to imagine Tommy without Cindy. One of his favorite songs? Let's hear it. Cindy, Cindy. And we're going to hear the version that Tommy's band of 50 years would do regularly. The Bluegrass Experience.
It's Cindy in the springtime, it's Cindy in the fall. I can't have my Cindy gal, I'll have no gal at all. Just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Wish I was an apple hanging on a tree. Every time my Cindy walk by, take a bite of me. Just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. I wish I had a needle fine as I could sew myself to hurt from telling down the road. We'll go just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. When I was a little boy, I wanted a bar of love. Now I want that Cindy girl to say she'll be my wife. Just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Wish I had a big white horse, corn feed him raw. Pretty little girl named Cindy Jean, gonna feed him while I'm gone. Just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. I traveled around the country, north, south, east, and west. Of all the girls I've ever seen, that Cindy is the best. Just get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Get along home, home, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, home, Cindy, I'll marry you someday.
That was Cindy, Cindy by Tommy Edwards and the Bluegrass Experience. We're going to wrap up with a song that really has been a crossover hit, it's fair to say, for Tommy. It was a crossover hit for many years. And in fact, we were just talking about it here a few minutes ago, the Christmas letter. And it strikes me, Will and Buddy, that this is not only just a terrific song in terms of its writing and musicianship, but it fits right in with what Tommy would regularly do on his show. He would do his 3-song gospel set, and this one certainly has gospel overtones. Will, you want to say anything by way of wrapping up?
Well, this song, actually, I heard it when Tommy performed it at our Christmas get-together one year.
The stations
got together, and I thought it was a marvelous song, and I asked you, Alan, I said, why don't we have this on our regular Christmas playlist? And so you said, well, there's no reason. So we put it on, and I will say to this day, it is still probably the song that gets the most call-ins, asking who sang that, how can I get a copy? It's a very popular Christmas song, and I think it just gets to the heart of Christmas. And as I told Tommy, I said, as long as I'm associated with the station, if I have anything to do with it, that will be on our holiday playlist. And I'm just, it always makes my Christmas season complete to hear Tommy sing that song.
Buddy, I read an article after Tommy died that quotes you, actually. You said that he's now joined the Heavenly Angel Band. We'll let you have more or less the last word here. Anything you want to say by way of wrap-up?
Well, Tommy, even though he never got the status of Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt and Bill Monroe, the Stanley Brothers, the people that he loved so dearly, he's right there with them right now, I believe. And he told me some stories years ago back at the Fiddlers Conventions and festivals that he would sit on his guitar case playing his guitar as a young man next to Tony Rice, who was another one of his heroes. And Tony went on to become nationally famous, and Tommy didn't. But that's okay. He's still famous with us, the people that knew him.
For sure.
And that's what I mean, the Heavenly Band. He's in there with them now, and I'm sure he's sitting there next to Doc Watson and Tony Rice picking right now.
Gentlemen, it's been a privilege to talk with you. Thank you for joining me today, Will and Buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go out with one of our favorites, as Will has said, The Christmas Letter by Tommy Edwards.
On Christmas Eve, the rich man cursed his car when it broke down. His cell phone wouldn't work that night, he was so far from town. Through snowy trees he saw a light, soon a house he found. A little shack so sad and poor, he nearly turned around. Yet when he knocked, a woman came, still young but tired and worn. She heard his plea, then warily she let him in the door. To his surprise there was a phone, he quickly made his call. And as he spoke he looked around and with sadness viewed it all. For the room was cold, the comforts few, the furnishings were spare. One strand of lights on a scrawny tree, and the floor beneath it was bare. Two children slept beneath a quilt upon an ancient bed. Then he saw the letter by the phone and silently he read. Dear Jesus, I am writing you 'cause Santa doesn't care. He missed our house the last 2 years and Daddy isn't here. I don't need toys or playthings, but Sister needs new shoes. My mama needs a winter coat. In closing, I love you. His call complete, he stood to go, for help was on the way. He asked the woman what he owed, but she would take no pay. Soon safe and warm in his fine home, he lay awake in bed and thought about that little boy and what his letter said. Dear Jesus, I am writing you 'cause Santa doesn't care. He missed our house the last 2 years and Daddy isn't here. I don't need toys or playthings, but Sister needs new shoes. My mama needs a winter coat. In closing, I love you. On Christmas morn, a man in red came to that little shack. Two children and their mother watched in awe as he unpacked. At first a little pair of shoes, just the perfect size. Then a woolen coat so soft and warm brought tears to Mother's eyes. And and there were lots of toys and playthings for a boy who'd ask for none. Why, the space beneath the tree was packed when Santa's work was done. A thankful boy asked Santa Claus, "Why did you come this year?" And Santa said, "Why, Jesus called and told me to come here." Dear Jesus, I am praying now to thank you for that boy. Unselfishly he asked for things to bring his family joy. He's learned a lesson very young that's known by far too few, that Christmas is a gift of love that flows to us from you. That Christmas is a gift of love and joy to us from you.